So welcome everybody to our webinar, Adapting to Consumer Expectations with Salesforce Data Management. I'm really excited that we have people from all over the globe, from retail and consumer brands organizations, including some of our current customers. Let me walk you through our agenda and speakers for this webinar first. In the first round, my colleague Tim van der Sman will show you how customer expectations have changed since COVID-19 and what this means for retailers and consumer brands. Tim is our product manager, as you can see, and he does a lot of research and talks to a lot of our clients to gather input for a roadmap for segmentation and targeting. Next up, we are very happy to have Swain from Watchbox joining us. Ian will share the Watchbox vision for the future of retail, what data initiatives they are currently running to align with this vision, and what results these initiatives have brought Watchbox. Ian is Director of Enterprise Products, and Watchbox is the world's leader in pre-owned luxury watches. And last but not least, we have our colleague Peter Zandstra doing a live demo of our data management solutions for Salesforce. Peter is our most experienced sales manager and has done a lot of consulting for clients in the retail and consumer brands. We will finish with some time for Q&A. You can always ask your questions through the Q&A panel in the Zoom control panel. You can find that button in the bottom of your screen. And the whole webinar, including the Q&A, will take approximately 30 to 45 minutes. Of course, we will record this webinar. We will share the recording with all attendees after the webinar. This webinar is brought to you by Plauti. If you don't know us, we offer data quality management solutions for Salesforce, and we enable Salesforce to be the single and complete source of truth by deduplicating, formatting, validating customer data. Also, keep an eye out for a new solution. It's called Data Action Platform, coming to the AppExchange in the near future. Data Action Platform will allow admins, end users, and developers to run bulk actions in Salesforce. So these will obviously contribute to a faster speed to lead and give you more segmentation and targeting options. What sets all of our solutions apart is that they are always native force.com, so no data transfer and very easy to implement and learn. We have 10 years of experience providing data management solutions for Salesforce, being one of the most popular on the AppExchange. We've currently almost 2,000 paying customers and a whole lot more using our free versions. But you don't have to believe me. You can also check out the reviews on the AppExchange to read what others have to say about our solutions. In the retail and consumer brands industry, we have quite a lot of brands and companies we represent, among them Lilly Pulitzer, Watchbox, of course, which Ian will explain later, Breitling, Plauti, so also a lot of it in the luxury segment. I hope you all learned something new today, and we will start now with Tim. So please, Tim, take it away.
Yes, thank you, guys. Thanks everyone for joining us today from wherever you are. In today's webinar, we'll first take a brief look at the biggest developments when it comes to customer expectations and behaviors in retail. Then we'll take a closer look at the consequences for data management in Salesforce in adapting to these expectations. And afterward, we'll briefly showcase our solution that helps you to adapt to these customer expectations. And we'll finish it off with a short Q&A. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. So when you look at customer expectations, you can identify 3 pillars that are affected by the recent developments of COVID-19. Salesforce did a pretty extensive survey among 12,000 consumers and 3,600 business buyers worldwide. And what they found was that most respondents would like to see companies accelerate digital initiatives. Consumers and business buyers now spend time in their home offices and living rooms instead of the normal headquarters of a company, the office, or in stores. So they expect in-person products and services to be digitalized, and furthermore, they expect to do more online shopping. 58% of consumers expect to do more online shopping after the pandemic as compared to before. And this number is even higher for B2B buyers. So this also has consequences for data management. Of course, when you're offering digitized versions of products, in-person products and services, you need more data, and also more data is gathered because of offering these services. And this data needs management of it. So this is really the first pillar that is effective for most companies. When you take a closer look at the second pillar, and this is actually an extension of convenience, so to say, customers expect a connected experience. This means they want the same experience, a flawless experience across multiple touch points. From the same survey, most consumers found that most consumers use multiple channels to start and complete a transaction. On average, they use 9 channels to browse inventory, seek advice, make a purchase, and use after-sales services. So this is quite a high number, and around the same number of consumers, they expect consistent interactions among those channels and among departments, such as sales, marketing, and service. Well, especially in stressful times, such as COVID-19 has been or is still for a lot of people, taking away unnecessary burdens that are created because of an unconnected experience can be critical in providing a good customer experience. So this is actually what customers have come to expect. But when you take a look at reality, a quite different picture is painted. This is not to say that all consumers experience it like this, but over half of consumers feel like they are communicating with separate departments when they interact with a retail brand over multiple channels. And they feel like these departments are not really sharing information. They feel like they have to repeat or re-explain information. And they feel like the service is fragmented. So even within the same department, they don't get the connected experience. And this is an opportunity for us retailers to gain some ground in this. When you take a look at the third pillar, this is coined understanding. Yeah, its importance is really magnified in times such as COVID-19. Consumers are not only putting more emphasis on this concept, but also raising the bar. So what do they mean with understanding? Now, first of all, they expect personalization. So 66%, that's the majority of consumers, expects communication and interacting with a retail brand to adapt to their unique needs and situation. But they even go one step further, and that's the second concept that makes up understanding. And that's that they expect empathy. And this is really difficult to display on a grand scale, on a one-to-one basis. But if, for instance, a entrepreneur is offered a product upgrade or a service upgrade, while he or she have to slash investments, that's not a real ideal timing to do that. And it's really difficult to do this as a brand, but customers are really aware of this. And again, this is an opportunity, especially if you look at the reality, because most consumers feel misunderstood. Only 34% feels treated as unique individuals. So you could say that almost 2/3 of consumers feel treated like a number. And only 37% of consumers, they feel like brands demonstrate empathy. So to gain a bird's eye view, there are 3 pillars when it comes to customer expectations, 3 teams on which brands can make some ground. This is convenience, a connected experience, and understanding. And this can be done by gathering more data and using that data and making this data accessible to all employees that add value along the customer journey over multiple channels. And they should have access to the same data, to the same view in a quick and easy way. And the way to do this, to bridge this gap, is to have a complete and trusted view of your customer. But this is a challenge because you have multiple data sources coming in, and Salesforce does offer good products to gather this customer data and to provide it in a centralized way, but it still can be fragmented over multiple records, for instance. So data quality consequences arise when gathering all this data. And this can lead to fragmented customer data over multiple Salesforce products or within a Salesforce product over multiple records. Data can get outdated because customers change addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. And there is a bunch more of data quality consequences when gathering all this customer data to adapt to the new customer expectations. For retail, so I can ramble a lot more about this, but maybe now it's a good time to take a closer look at a specific case by means of an interview with Swain from Watchbox. So Ian, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you here. Yeah, maybe you can briefly introduce yourself and Watchbox to give our attendees an idea of yourself and Watchbox.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I've been using the products for years now. But yeah, my name is Ian Swain. I'm the Director of Enterprise Product at Watchbox, and we're the world's leading platform for buying, selling, and trading pre-owned luxury watches, which is an incredibly amazing and unique industry. And at Watchbox, my primary goal is just to maximize the value of our technology platforms for business users. And one of those is Salesforce.
All right, great. Well, great to have you. So can you tell our attendees a little bit more about what Salesforce products are used within Watchbox and to what end?
Yeah, so Watchbox is definitely a Salesforce company. We utilize Salesforce CRM as our customer source of truth, and we do also utilize marketing platforms like Marketing Cloud and Commerce Cloud as well. And Salesforce sits at the heart of our customer and also includes parts of our sales process. So we utilize many of the Salesforce core features, and the primary purpose is to help our client advisors maintain those strong relationships with their clients. And Watchbox is so relationship driven, and so Salesforce allows us to maintain the transactional history, the unique aspects of a customer that the client advisor might utilize, and helps really foster that relationship. And we can use that to personalize marketing engagements through the Marketing Cloud platform, or make sure we present them with the best recommendations as well. So we really do encapture a Salesforce company for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. So you talked about a single customer view or a single source of truth. Has it always been like that? I mean, what challenges arose when you tried to achieve this?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges with customer source of truth that many companies come to face is when you're trying to either consolidate platforms, migrate legacy platforms, or proprietary platforms. Over time, technology evolves, and you really kind of feel like the priority on data cleanliness really only evolved to be so strict and valuable over the past decade, maybe. So the data points from back then, platforms maybe didn't have any field requirements or mismatching fields, and also data from legacy systems may be outdated. So you're always faced with that challenge and that pursuit of consolidation. How do you make sure that we're grabbing the correct data and making sure that we are identifying that source of truth for a record? And so data migrations, probably one of the largest challenges that we face when trying to utilize, bring things into a consolidated Salesforce platform, especially in a global industry. And especially when, Watchbox, we really strive to be incredibly accessible to our clients. And that means taking in data points from social media, from email, from phone. How do you make sure we're always routing to the right customer profiles? So that's data migrations for sure. And then maintaining the cleanliness of that data once it's in the platform. How do we allow that accessibility to maintain while cleaning data on arrival in real time?
Mm-hmm. I see. And you did have some challenges at a certain moment. As I understood, you had a fragmented view.
Yeah, so when we are trying to bring over data points, you come into situations it could be quite large where, with a global company, a lot of people share similar names. You have to rely on external data points, email addresses, phones, other things. But also, when you're moving transactional history in retail from different platforms, and profiles might exist in different areas, how do we make sure that we understand the full transactional history of a customer? And so that was one of the challenges we faced when consolidating to Salesforce and our sales process, is using legacy transactional platforms to give ourselves that customer 360. When did we become that, when that relationship start, and how is that relationship going, and how has it been?
Yeah. So when you had this sort of incomplete view of the customer, what impact did it have on like the business side? You already mentioned like having a complete picture of customers of different segments, maybe. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the challenges you can really face in the watch industry is, with watch enthusiasts, the passion is so incredible. And with watches, there's such a uniqueness about like what people are fond of, the types of watches, the metals, the like all of these unique aspects of watches. And understanding transaction history allows us to really provide the best recommendations to that customer to align with their taste profile, for sure. And so when you have that fragmented view, we don't really get the full picture. And you come to challenges whether you're just having a one-on-one conversation with your client. We have these new inventory, and you probably love this. Without the full history, we would have challenges just trying to make sure that we are presenting the best information to the client. And so by centralizing all that and consolidating, you can really understand the taste profiles, the likes, the dislikes of and so you can really help foster that passion of a collector or enthusiast, for sure.
Yeah, I see. So obviously we helped you achieve this customer 360, the single view again. Can you tell our attendees a little bit more about how our solution helped and is helping Watchbox at the moment?
Absolutely. We did a bit of a phased approach in how we tackled this because of all the features that duplicate check had. But the most impactful was our initial batch runs using local jobs, where we took a tiered approach of identifying duplicates within Salesforce, using, the first tier would be 100% confidence, email, phone, name, and then we just tier it down from there. And so we do these tier batch jobs, and we run those continuously for a period of time until we identify and essentially have confidently consolidated data for 75% and up. And then we move down and use manual reviews of the batch jobs. And then once that was done, I think one of the best things was, replacing the Salesforce standard new person account flow with the manual prevention tool. So on addition of a new account, just by first name, last name, email, the quick things, it's already populating with potential duplicates, and it happens so quick and in real time that the prevention aspect of it really helps us maintain. So all the legwork done in the back is not for nothing, because we're always consistently maintaining that clean data. And then for the acquisition channels, whether it's just email subscribers or phone subscribers, you know, things like daily auto convert runs on leads that run continuously and auto convert with 100% confidence has been a huge time saver. Absolutely, for sure.
Great to hear. So can you also translate this to any results on the business side?
Yeah, absolutely. We know the history of how new customers come to us now, whether they signed up through email or phone, because those channels all come into Salesforce. And by making sure we consolidate those accounts, we have their activity feed or their history updated, because all of those things in real time merge together to build that now new source of customer 360. So that's been fantastic. Also, the ability to understand our customers has grown significantly, just knowing transactional history, knowing you know, which email engagements they prefer, subscribing option, things like that. So it's definitely just, it's the biggest thing probably is the confidence in the data. You know, we've always been very confident in our data, and now our confidence is just that much more. We can confidently talk with our client advisors as always, and just know that we have the right information ahead of us. Our customers expect it, so we have to continuously strive to be as validated as possible. And so just the confidence has been huge.
Great to hear. Yeah, do you have any next steps planned? Any further steps, or are you looking into something?
Yeah, we're definitely excited about the advanced merge rules for sure. And then we're also exploring the APIs to be able to utilize those more cross-system in real time. So, you know, looking at bringing the auto converts or auto merges before it even hits Salesforce, utilizing those APIs. And so we're exploring those avenues as well, just to add a bit more optimization and efficiency, just to make it even a bit more cleaner.
Yeah. Well, really eager on your experience on that. So great.
Me too. Be good.
Yeah. Well, great. Thanks for sharing your perspective. I'm sure our attendees have learned from your perspective. And maybe now it's a good time to take a closer look at our solution by means of a quick demo by one of my colleagues, Peter. Peter, the floor is yours.
Yeah, let me unmute myself. That helps. So I'm sharing my screen. That also helps. So I'll walk you around through a short story for an average retailer. I don't have watches, so I only have some tea to sell. So I'd like to tell you a short story for what it looks like using Salesforce in an e-commerce environment where via every angle records could enter your Salesforce. I'll start off here with this web form. So this tea company offers some free tea, and I'm a tea lover, so I'll just send in the form here because I'd like to have some free tea bags in my system. But I truly love it, so I said, okay, let's move on and try another package, because I'd like to have two ones as well. So what happens now is this web form just directly enters your Salesforce. But I'm very keen on having this. So I reach out to the company by phone, and that phone is not connected automatically to Salesforce. So when someone comes in on the phone, I need to create a new record. In this case, I create a new lead. So while creating this new lead, because I want to have that this potential customer likes to have new tea bags, then all of a sudden it will show the user right away that it is in the system. So I'm looking here for a record, and it says, okay, I'm normally you create a whole record, hit save, find out that there is a dupe. Now it says, okay, hey, this guy already is in the system. So he reached out to me already via that campaign. So the only thing the user can do is say, okay, I'm trusted data, I see it, so I just open this record. So when I open this record, I can see, okay, he called for this 50 tea bags, and yes, he's in here. I filled in this form twice, and what happened in the background, so fully automated, that this record got created and got merged right away. So I filled in the form twice, it's only once in the system. So this employee says, okay, I'm gonna sort, I'm gonna provide you this, these tea bags, but let me add your phone number and the address I need to add, I need to send the tea bags to. So let me just store your phone number. And when I complete it, I'll format it right away, and it will say, hey, there's an international one. It will provide that it is his mobile number. And which address should I send this to? So I can just type in the address here that the guy provides, and then upon typing, it will allow me a suggestion and say, okay, this is it. And I just save that record. So while this saves me tremendous amount of time, it validates, it checks if there is duplicate information. And by the way, it shows, okay, what's the validated status? So if I reach out or send a package of tea in this case, or an expensive watch, you know it's in the existing address. But still, there is also information that this guy is actually not a prospect, but an existing client. So I can open this one here just to check, or convert them right away, but I want to check first. And then it appears that this guy already had 2 cases that he really, really needs this free tea bags already. So he's also connected here to the campaign already with the tea bags. So what you can do here is say, okay, I'll convert the existing lead into the existing account. So it just checks it. Do I want to create an opportunity? Not. And then it just moves it. So this guy who reaches out to the same company, in this case, the retail store, will eventually get his single package of tea, and not 6 times, and he will not overload the system with and your employees 5-6 times, because everybody can see right away if there is duplicates within and cross object. And you can even do that from a case perspective. So I clean up all my duplicate cases, duplicate contacts, so that's 0. But you can even say, okay, in the case object, I'd like to merge those 2 and concatenate those values. So that would be a story on any angle you work, any user who works with Salesforce, how you could trust the data on any object going forward. Now for admins, it's very easy to set up, or for technical level. So let me just show you here. This is the setup of duplicate check. So in here, you can work on any object. In an object, it's very easy to configure. How can you determine what are duplicates? So that's combination of fields, matching methods. So fuzzy logic is there, exact matching is there. And then you can tell the system, okay, I want to see those if there is a certain matching likelihood that there is a duplicate. And that it's just a single click to say, okay, I'd like to put this active on manual entry or update. You can set that on that live performance, so that component. You can run jobs, what Ian explained in the beginning. So he started off by cleaning up, that's DC job. And next you can set this on bulk uploads, integrations, and web leads, or work with flow, very common right now. Any action you can use in your flow in Salesforce. So that's to define what are duplicates. So it's install, and you have the basics, and you can just configure in just a couple of minutes to determine what are duplicates. You can fully customize the logic in how what should be the master, and in a merge, all cases, all opportunities, task, everything will be reparented to the master record. But this is where you can create your own logic. For instance, say combine all emails together, upon merging, or keep all emails while merging, or keep groups together. Everything is possible. And then upon the fully automated, so what Ian said, okay, I'd like to move forward when this merge rules are set right, we'd like to automate, and that automation could be done in direct. So there you could say, what I showed in the beginning, this web lead, if there is a certain metric percentage, 95 and higher, I'd like to merge that fully automated. So this, and that works within and cross objects, so merging and converting. Where Ian started with was the batch cleaning. I will end with that, and that's the batch here. So everything that comes in an automated way is not merged fully automated, so the direct, is shown here in the DC job. So this is posted here when I imported my demo data, and it does a search within a cross object right away. But you start off by looking for dupes in the existing database, and that is add a new job, and then you say, okay, I give it a name, I select the object of choice, and again, any object works, just activate it and configure it. Then within or cross object, select one or more scenarios, and then you can simply say, okay, do I want to run on the entire object, or do I want to work on a subset of the data? So you can select a predefined filter or create that on the fly. You can even schedule, so you say, I run this every night, every day, but since you have prevention on each entry point, maybe you schedule it once a week or so in addition. And again, you can choose to auto merge on this level. Now, I just run on Salesforce Cloud with Start, but if you have a larger database, use local. That speeds up the process very, so that has way more processing power. But my demo set is sufficient for this one. So when results are running in, you can easily view the results. And then, as Ian explained, he said, okay, we'd like to run through the ones that have a high score and then the ones lower. So where am I confident to do mass merge? So probably he just said, okay, these are all the duplicates that are found. Maybe you'd like to do it as CSV, but now I'll just say, okay, I'd like to filter this one on the obvious ones. And then you could say, okay, 100 up to 80%. I can share this, but now I'll just run this through. So you can say, okay, these are results. And yes, this is a merge, or this is a duplicate, and I'd like to merge this. So you can quick merge. You can lead you to a manual merge page if you can want to mix and match values. That's also possible. We'll flag it as a false positive. But in retail, you probably have more records than I do. So you need to be confident to do mass merging. And I'm confident for the first step to do mass merging of 98% matching up. And here differences are showing up. So for the mass merge, the only thing you have to do is be confident that it is a good duplicate and hit auto merge or cross object auto convert. And it doesn't matter if within a group, I select the level I'm confident with, 96 and up, and I just process it. And it doesn't matter if there's 100 records in one group or just 2, it's processing it. And in that process, all opportunities, cases, everything will be reparented to that master. So in a split, so the first cleanup can be done in, and depends on how many data you have, but it can be done in just a day or 2. And then ongoing, you have the prevention on each entry point and schedule jobs. So that's what we have. And then here you see a almost completely free database, because some will have a lower matching score. But this is what I wanted to show you on the duplicate check level on the demo. If there is any question, do let us know.
Yes, thank you, Peter. Thanks for sharing your great demo. Just to get a bird's eye view again of our functionality. You see Plauti data management over here. That's really the pinnacle of our solutions, where all functionality comes together. As Gijs already mentioned in the beginning, it's a native Force.com application. So data doesn't really leave your Salesforce instance, and all functionality is integrated within the Salesforce instance. And intended purpose of Plauti data management is to enable a true customer 360. We integrate with any external data source and ultimately provide a unified and trusted source of truth for all your employees to work with. Just an overview of the main functionality. You have full control on finding and cleaning bad data due to fine-grained identification and correction rules, for instance. We can detect data from any point of entry, including human entry. So we have functionality that prevents errors from an employee side. Next, once you feel comfortable, you can automate a lot of functionality. That saves you a lot of time. And we integrate with all data sources. We have Apex plugins, we have Apex REST API, SOAP API. So you name it, we can match your business logic. And last but not least, you have peace of mind with our solution because we're Salesforce native. Your data won't go out of your Salesforce instance. So you don't have extra compliance overhead or security overhead. And I think that's also a big plus of our solution. So all of this functionality allows you to deliver on the customer expectations and adapt to their behaviors. It also lifts morale and team spirit because working with bad data just is a pain in the ass. And ultimately, it increases your Salesforce ROI. Actually, the intended purpose of Salesforce is to have a customer 360, but it's complicated because of different data sources. And in the end, we see ourselves as the enablers of a customer 360 and Salesforce. So that sums it all up. I will now give the word back to Gijs to handle any questions. And I'd like to thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you for your insights, Tim, Ian, and Peter. That was a beautiful build-up going from the strategic to the operational, even including a short recap at the end. As Tim mentioned, we have now some time for some questions. If you haven't asked your question yet, please do so now. Let's see. We have a question from Sarah. She writes, you demoed to some end users. Can they merge all of the records? Maybe Sarah is a bit apprehensive there. Peter, can you shine a light on that question?
Yeah, sure. Yes, you can merge all the records. So that's typically the job section where you can look through all the records and merge all identified duplicates if you're confident to do so.
She specifically mentioned end users.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, that section is I would say for admins that are able to an end user who is on a detail page on a case, for instance, or on a lead or contact, that user must have rights to the lead records. So if he doesn't have that right, he can only flag it as a duplicate, and that will be listed in the job overview for the admin. So then he can help to keep it clean, but he's not able to execute that. So we see that a lot in a company.
Okay, thanks, Peter. I think that covers it. If not, Sarah, please reach out. We have another question from Enrico. That sounds very Italian. Also about end users, I see. You've mentioned and demoed how end users can contribute to data quality. Do they each require a separate license, or how does that work? Again, for you, I think, Peter.
Yes. No, it doesn't require additional licenses for extra users. So any user can have access to the functionality and the company decides. So it's settings. So we're native to Salesforce. You can just say a certain profile, certain users should have access to functionalities. It doesn't come at an extra price.
Okay, excellent. The normal question always is if we record this webinar, we do, and we will obviously send out a recording to all of you. So don't worry about that. So that concludes our webinar. Thank you for everyone for joining, and thank you again, Ian, Tim, and Peter.
Thank you.
If you're interested in learning more about our solutions and future-proofing your organization, please go to plauti.com. You can use the chat on your right-hand side of the screen to schedule a one-on-one session with us, or use the contact form and describe what you would like to know. We will come back to you. That was it for today. I hope we'll talk soon, or you will be joining another one of our webinars. We have an upcoming webinar regarding new merging rules we've introduced in duplicate check, and then a new webinar that is just accompanying the launch of PDM. Tim already mentioned that. You can find those also on our website. Go to plauti.com and go to the webinar section under resources. So thanks again, and hopefully see you soon. Goodbye.